Welcome to the Fairways of Life show.
It takes a lot of work to get to this point in my career.
Gents, here's where I want to go now.
If I can practice, I know I can still do it.
Great players are ones who rise to the occasion.
And go again.
With the most candid interviews.
Well, I'll tell you a little story.
Ice cream is the motivator.
But an ice cream is so good.
Stunning.
Taking you beyond the ropes.
Maddie, let me just bring you over here.
So there's the Ryder Cup Masters Trophy.
Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
It's one of those putts that if I make mine, his gets significantly tougher, and if I miss, he probably will make his. I don't know, but it's it was definitely no gimmicks there. So to put the pressure on him was awesome.
What a finish to the Travelers Championship. It's always awesome being up here. Signature event. Absolutely exciting. We've got more coming up for you from that. Welcome into the PXG Custom Studios. Log on to pxg.com and you could play like you have never played before. It was a fun week at the Travelers Championship. It always is. TPC River Highlands the week after the U.S. Open. It's always about scoring. It's always about making a lot of birdies. It's always about being aggressive, and as a result, it creates drama. And we had all of that, as we have had for years. So where do we start? Well, let's first of all put together this. This is sound that John Burkett has created and Andrew has woven together for you, so it kind of relives the highs and lows that was the Travelers Championship for 2026.
It's one of those putts that if I make mine, his gets significantly tougher, and if I miss, he probably will make his. I don't know, but it's it was definitely no gimmicks there. So to put the pressure on him was awesome.
Everyone's good out here. Is it making more meaningful when it's someone like him?
Yeah, I think so. You know, you always want to try to beat the best, and you know what he's been doing the last few years is just super impressive, and have so much respect for him and his game, and to go up against him and have a chance to beat him, I think it's just super exciting. You know, that's what you wake up every day to get better. That's for those moments right there.
Can you compare and tell us about how the pressure maybe feels different going down playing that hole last night, and then how the dynamics of it change and how it feels different playing it this morning?
Yeah, I mean, it feels the same. You're still just as nervous, but it's a little bit different knowing that, I mean, obviously you want to win, but there's less to lose in a way. You've kind of had time to reset and go through your warm-up. You're acquainted with what you're dealing with what you're going to show up and have to face, versus yesterday it's all unfolding in real time, and sometimes it's hard to gather yourself in the moment. So I think that was maybe one of the other things that were different, but at the same time you're still, I mean, just on the drive, it's hard to feel the same or go through the same routine. Things just feel different. Your legs are shaking, your hands are shaking. It's super challenging.
And how does this change your expectations or any of your goals, what you want to achieve at Birkdale?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I want to contend and have a chance to win. But at the end of the day, I just proved a lot to myself that I've got the game now, and I've really made some big strides. And just the way I've been driven it all week, you know, that's been kind of one of the weaknesses this year. And this week I drove it amazing and did a lot of good stuff the whole week. So I just want to continue that trend, whether I win or lose, whatever. I just want to play good golf and have fun out here again.
Scores are scores. They are whatever. At what point did you feel capable of doing this in terms of hitting shots and knowing what to expect?
Yeah, and that's...
How long ago was that?
Yeah, and that's one of those things that's been very difficult. Especially when you've been going through some struggles like I have. You know, some of the shots that I've seen are just like, whoa, how is that even possible? Like, I've never seen some of those shots before. And then I've had moments where, okay, I think I'm onto something that feels good, and then that one big miss comes back again. So even if you're playing good golf, it's still kind of in the back of your mind a little bit. Ooh, are we over it? Are we good? And it's you have a little bit of doubt still in there, even though you're hitting good shots. And I don't know if there's like this one point where you go, oh, I got it now. It just kind of, those big misses stop happening. and then you just expect to see the ball going straight, kind of like what happened this week. Because even U.S. Open last week, I thought I drove it a lot better, but I had one big miss on the 12th hole out there, and the left to right wind that went OB. So I had one bad shot that cost me 2 shots for the tournament, and I missed a cut by shot.
Yeah. How was Canada?
Canada was a lot better, but still it felt like I was maybe guiding it a little bit, not quite as comfortable as I would have liked, but it was definitely a huge step in the right direction. So I've been like progressing the whole way, but still having a little bit of doubt in there. But this week I just kind of went to work and felt comfortable.
Maybe I hit a little firmer than I intended to. It looked like it got pretty far by the hole, and I was playing it outside the hole. So I hit it down my line, just maybe the speed was a touch off.
Yeah, obviously not the outcome that you were looking for, but what do you sort of take away from a week like this?
I mean, ball striking is definitely a good spot. That was some of the best that I've hit it all season, which is a good spot. Yeah, obviously, I mean, I think just a little disappointed with the results of today, but yeah, I did a good job of keeping myself in the tournament last night. You know, I made the nice putt to close out last night, and so, you know, trying to remember that one. Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 really, really long weeks. You know, being in contention both weeks. You know, anytime after a major championship, especially a U.S. Open, I think you're going to be pretty worn out. But like I said, I felt like I did some really nice things this week, which you know, I'll use that momentum going into the rest of the season.
You played 37 holes over the last couple of days with Victor, and he has sort of been up and down, back winning now for the first time in a couple of years. What, if anything, that you didn't learn? What did you learn maybe about his game, or what did you see about his game going forward?
I mean, I've been playing golf with Victor for a long time. We've had some good battles in college and out here as a pro. He has so much talent. You know, he hits the ball so solidly. You know, I remember playing with him at Bay Hill a few years ago, and I would just tell him, be like, dude, you just hit the ball like so solid every time. It's really quite impressive, and he's a guy that has a lot of talent and works really hard. So those are the types of guys you like to see have success. You know, I saw him warming up. When I was warming up on Sunday last week, I saw him kind of down on the corner of the range just hitting balls by himself, and so he's never going to be a guy that's, if he's not having success, it's not because he's not putting in the work. And so when you see a guy like that who practices as hard as he does and works as hard as he does, it's you know, you're always glad to see those people have success.
Yeah, it was absolutely a great week, and we have a great show coming up for you today. Last week we had a chance to sit down with a couple of friends of the show. Ryan Fox, a multiple-time winner on the PGA Tour, 4 times, in fact, on the DP World Tour. He has tasted victory 19 times amongst his professional career, traveling all over the world and playing the game from New Zealand. Really unique player. I love Ryan because I like his attitude. I like his optimism. I like how aggressively that he plays. We're also going to be joined by Mark Hubbard, who Mark is such a unique character. On social media, they call him Homeless Hubs and all the rest. I'm sure you remember Mark being on this show and seeing him play golf multiple times. He is a really cool dude, and I can't wait to share with you the conversation that we had with him. Then, if you remember last week's show, when we wrapped up the show, we featured Brian Rolap, who's the CEO of the PGA Tour, of course, about the new structure of the PGA Tour with the championship tier and the challenger tier and what it all means. We didn't have a lot of time to play sound from Brian with all of the interviews that we conducted at the Travelers Championship. So this week, we're going to go deep. You're going to hear not a part of it. You're going to hear all of the press conference from Brian Rolap so that you can make a judgment of your own about what you think about the new path of the PGA Tour. I know the last week and a half or so there's been a lot of news out there, but I want to make sure that you have all of the knowledge that you need and want in order to judge it for yourself in terms of how you're going to consume the PGA Tour. All of that is coming up right here in the Fairways of Life show. Ben Hogan is back. BenHoganGolf.com is a website that you can log on to and see. See this beautiful equipment right here? All of it is etched with the famed name of Ben Hogan right in the metal. Here's one of the parts that I love about Ben Hogan Golf. The relationship is direct between you and Ben Hogan Golf. There's no middleman. It is direct. They are literally your tour truck. You want to play your best? Use the equipment. Use the beauty, the aesthetics. BenHoganGolf.com today. Back with more after this.
For decades, Superstroke has owned the greens. The biggest wins, the biggest moments. Trusted by more tour players than any other putter grip in the game. But we didn't stop there. we reimagined what a swing grip could be. Revel isn't just a new product, it's the next chapter of performance. And it didn't take long to prove it. From the first tee to the final putt, now every shot deserves Superstroke.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
When you play PXG, everything clicks. That's the sound of confidence, of performance, of knowing your new PXG Gen 8 irons and new Lightning woods are designed and custom fit for pros and golfers just like you. A better game is just a click away. Visit pxg.com to learn more. PXG, you've never played like this before.
Every golfer dreams of reaching the next level. FlightScope Mevo Gen 2 gives you 18 data parameters with the accuracy you demand to improve your game, all measured with FlightScope's patented fusion tracking. Its 6-hour battery life gives you uninterrupted play and practice outdoors and indoors. Tee it up on the included simulation bundle. See your shots come to life with the FlightScope AR Tracer. Have fun, improve your game, shoot lower scores with no required subscriptions. Buy your FlightScope Mevo Gen 2 now at FlightScope.com.
Head down, water down the left, bunker down the right, take the club straight back.
Wandering minds. When golfers lose their focus, they're totally... But Bridgestone can help. Introducing Mindset. The ball scientifically designed to keep you focused. First, identify your target. Next, visualize your shot path.
And then focus on the green dot and smooth one.
Play the Tour B and E12 with Mindset technology.
See what happens when we work together? Stuff like that.
Nice one.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams, and I have skin cancer. Just like almost 10% of the U.S. population, but even more scary, 30% of us golfers. So once again, the legacy of Arnold Palmer is leading the game with Arnie's Mineral Sunscreen. It's a lightweight SPF 50 mineral-based sunscreen that's clean, safe, non-greasy, and no fuss. Log on to shoparnies.com to protect yourself and live life to the fullest, just like the king. Beautiful shots at TPC River Highlands. We're live from the Travelers Championship. Matt Adams, and I'm delighted to be joined by Ryan Fox, a multiple-time winner on the PGA Tour, four-time winner too on the DP World Tour. How are you, my friend? How are you holding up?
I'm good, but still a bit tired after last week. It was a bit of a tough week at Shinnecock. But
how do you get your rest back? How do you handle that?
Just take it pretty easy, to be honest. I didn't do anything on Monday. I think the weather here has kind of helped that a little bit. So yeah, I had a nap on the couch Monday afternoon, let the kids watch the iPads and said don't bother me for a while, and take it easy on Tuesday and Pro-Am on Wednesday, and that's it really. Just it's the end of a 4-week stretch as well for me, so the golf game's in reasonable shape. It's more about just being ready to play by Thursday and making sure I've still got some energy over the weekend.
Does it click back in for you just automatically when you're inside the ropes, regardless of what's going on in life?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's sort of you can kind of cruise sometimes in tournament weeks, especially at a place like this where you played before and the golf course is relatively in front of you for the most part. You know, you just go and do a little bit of your work during the week, and then you get out there and the competitive juices start flowing, and you're kind of all good again. You click back in really quickly.
It's a fun course too,
It
isn't
is.
it?
It is. It's especially after last week where, you know, you feel like every shot you're worried about making a mistake and making double from nowhere. You know, this is a little bit the opposite. Obviously, you know, you can still play bad and shoot some bad scores, but it feels like you've got plenty of chances around here. There's some really cool holes. Obviously, the finish from, you know, 13.
I was just going to say from 13 for you guys, right? Eagle there, maybe birdie 14, go at 15.
Yeah, but it's a great finish too, because of what when Streels won in 14 or something, was it 7 in a row?
7 in a row.
But you feel like, you know, 13 you've still got to hit a good drive, and there's water in play both on the tee shot and the second shot. 14's a tough little wedge shot potentially. If you like, it's a little downhill, and if you get that wrong, you know, it's a small target there. You can still make a bogey, but you can make a birdie really easily. 15, obviously, risk reward drivable par 4, and then, you know, 17, 18. If you hit 2 good shots, you can make birdie. But if you're out of position, you can make a big number on 17, and, you know, if you're in the rough on 18 and get a bad lie, it's not an easy par
How
either.
narrow does the fairway look on 17 from back there?
For me, it looks really narrow. Like, I've never been a fan of down. Like, uphill, it feels like the ball's never going to go that far offline. But when it's like 15 or 20 downhill at least, it always feels like the ball can get away from you really quickly. At 10, it doesn't, but just visually, it does. And so you kind of just aim at that left bunker, and I like hitting a fade anyway, so just try to peel it off it. And, you know, at least it's not a driver down there. Like, I think you might see a couple of guys hit 3-wood, but for the most part, guys are hitting, you know, a 5-wood, 7-wood, 2-iron, whatever.
Something safe.
Something what they've got, even if it plays a little downwind, maybe even a 4-iron, and, you know, it's, you know, a 9-iron or a wedge, and you've got to hit a decent second shot. But if you do that, you give yourself a decent birdie chance.
What was it like for you, Ryan, when you were a kid? Here, you know, his dad, Grant, you guys know, is an absolute legend, but you choose golf. Was that kind of deliberate to say, he's got his world, I'm going to find mine?
Not necessarily, because I was, all the way through school, I played rugby and cricket. So my mum's dad played cricket for New Zealand as well. So,
oh my God.
So something cool. I'm the 3rd generation of my family to represent New Zealand in 3 different sports, which is
very neat.
That's really cool. But so rugby and cricket were my 2 main sports. I started a law degree at Auckland University when I was 18. Decided I didn't like law at all. And I gave up rugby and cricket. I gave up rugby after school, probably a few too many concussions, and cricket I didn't enjoy that much. When I got to the men's level, I played 1 season of men's cricket, and it wasn't for me, and I thought I need something competitive. I played golf off 2 at the time, and go, oh well, I'll get some coaching and play some tournament golf. I've never really played. I played a couple of junior tournaments, that was it, and I got down to scratch really quickly, and then played my first tournament. It was a tournament called the Waikato Winter Stroke Play in Hamilton, New Zealand, and I think that was 2005. I say, like, first one actually entered as a golfer. You know, I played junior tournaments at my home club as a kid or whatever, just because they were there. But this is the first one I entered just trying to play golf, and I absolutely loved it. That was me, and yeah, a bit later than everyone else. But I definitely felt through school like I was the same. I played the same position as my dad. I kicked goals like my dad did. There was a lot of pressure on, and then all of a sudden, you know, when golf came along, and it was a little bit the same in cricket. Like, my grandfather's reputation was always there, so golf was just something a little bit different, and I definitely got a bit more publicity in New Zealand out of it than I would have because of my heritage. But it was nice to kind of carve my own path there.
Well, it also shows that winning is in the blood.
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky. I think there is some pretty good genetics, both with hand-eye coordination, and you know, my grandfather was renowned as being very cool, calm, and collected under pressure. My dad was more fiery and competitive. So I think my mum's kind of said that I've got a little bit the best of both. I'm maybe not as short-tempered as my dad could be, but I've got his competitive streak. But I've got, you know, she's always said I feel a bit like her dad, that you know, I can stay cool and calm and collected. I don't necessarily feel it inside sometimes, but yeah, I obviously got some good genetics there and some good coaching and mental help when I was young, without probably thinking it was anything.
Incredible, dude. I mean, it's to watch you from a fan's perspective, it almost feels like you're playing with house money. It's like you have this willingness to go at pins in an almost Palmer-esque sort of way. Do you see yourself that way?
Definitely not like Palmer. He's got a little bit more under his belt than I do, but I like playing aggressive. I like playing fast. That's just how I've always played the game. I was the same playing cricket. My dad would give me stick about not wanting to run between the wickets. I'd always want to hit 4s or 6s, which probably means nothing to an American audience, but it's kind of like hitting a home run kind of thing. So I just always, every sport I played growing up was the same. Tennis, I wanted to hit the ball hard. Cricket, I wanted to hit the ball hard. Rugby, I got hit hard more than I actually hit people hard. But it was just, I think it just translated into golf that I wanted to be aggressive. I wanted to hit driver hard. I took shots on, and I was pretty erratic growing up, but managed to kind of rein it in a little bit. And over the years, I've been pretty lucky. I've won some pretty cool tournaments. And if you had told me right now that I'd have won a couple of times on the PGA Tour and a few times in Europe and a couple of pretty big events, I would have bitten your hand off 15 years ago when I turned pro.
It's incredible because the real number, professional wins for this gent, 19 on top of all those distinctive ones that he's noted and I mentioned earlier. It's crazy. You've got a bunch of sponsors on your apparel. You want to tell the world about who you've aligned yourself with?
Yeah, well, I mean, start at the hat, Strixon. I've been very lucky. I've been with Strixon for almost 20 years now. They were the sponsor of the New Zealand Academy when I first made that in, I think, 2008. So that's been a really long-standing partnership, and it's been a great transition between amateur golf, professional golf, and I love all their product. Where I'm going to get I've got Rico here from New Zealand.
Okay.
So they've been with me again from the very start. They were a huge client of my dad's at home. He's got a sports marketing business. They spent a bit of money with him, and when I turned pro, Dad said, "Hey, if you guys want to sponsor Ryan," and they've been with me right from the start as well, which is really cool.
You got Stellar Energy.
Stellar Energy. It's a funny story, that one. The CEO owner is a Kiwi guy who met my agent in Sawgrass one year, and they started talking, and the guy goes, "Oh, who else do you represent?" He goes, "Oh, I represent Ryan Fox." He goes, "You're kidding? I went to school with his dad."
Oh my God!
So, just a random New Zealander and with a business in the States, and I got to know Peter really well, and he played cricket with my dad at school, and had known him for 40 years. So it's
great.
It's a really, really small world in that regard. Levelwear here.
Great apparel.
Yeah, great apparel. I mean, they do great things on tour. They sponsor a lot of the caddy lounges and stuff like that week in, week out, and I know the caddies really appreciate that. And I've been loving wearing their stuff over the last few years. Arena, I've been with for quite a few years now, and they do all the temporary structures around. So they do a bunch of events on tour. They did the US Open last week.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool being involved with a business that is involved in the sport.
It's heavy duty construction too there.
Yeah, and knowing what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, I think we take it for granted as professionals that, we turn up and all of this stuff's just up and there, and we come here for a week and disappear, but 12-week builds and 6-week teardowns, and doing that week to week, it's pretty impressive and
very impressive.
And Claritative here, been with them for about a year now. US-based company, getting heavily involved in golf. They've got Bud Corley and Neil Shipley as well. So they've got a footprint in golf now, and it's been great to get to know those guys. Very good. Very, very thankful. I've been very lucky to have.
Anything on that sleeve?
Nothing on the sleeve.
Oh, there's a sleeve open there. Make sure you get in touch with them.
So I've been lucky. I've had great sponsors, partners throughout my career, and early on, especially, I was playing the Aussie Tour, onto Challenge Tour, like that. It really helps. Like, I think golf's kind of flipped on its head. As you get better, you get looked after better. You get more, free things, free hotel rooms, whatever. Obviously, your sponsorship gets better and better. but it's the guys at the bottom that need more of the help. So if you're, when you're coming up, just having someone there just to be able to, just a little bit makes a big difference. And I've been lucky to have some really, really good sponsors right from the start, and got some really good ones now that, I feel like I can kind of give back a little bit, like me being involved helps them rather than it's kind of a one-way street at the start almost.
Yeah, just keep that in mind, folks. If you have an event coming to your town, contact the tournament. Let them know if you're willing to have a player stay at the house, whatever it is.
It does make a massive difference. I mean, there's some of the smaller tours around. You've got to finish top 5, top 10 just to break even for the week, and there's a lot of good players out here.
Yeah, whatever it is, even the amateur tournaments.
All the way down. It's super competitive, and sometimes guys just need a chance. And girls need a chance.
Speaking about chances, now, of course, all the news is out about Brian Rolap's address to the world. You're going to be hearing from Brian coming up in the show in just a little bit here. What do you think about what you're hearing? Are you encouraged?
I think so. I mean, all in all, I think the process has been really good. Brian's been very open at the start from the start with us about what the goals are, why they are making changes, and I think everyone's bought into it. I mean, I can only go from what I've seen in the players' meetings and talk to a few guys about, but he's very articulate. He gets up, he gives us his point of view, and goes, "Are there any questions?" And for the most part, everyone keeps their hands down, and I think that shows that he's explained it really well. Everyone's kind of bought into what we're trying to do as a tour. I think the biggest thing is for him and for the tour is there's a lot of golf fans out there. I think there is a bit of a disconnect between golf fans and PGA Tour fans, and I think Brian's really trying to bring that closer together. And with obviously TV partners, with commercial partners, sponsors of events and everything, how we elevate the tour to take advantage of the non-football season, right? It's hard over here to compete with the NFL.
Of course.
No sport can really do that, but there's a decent amount of time where the NFL's not playing, and we can take advantage of that. And Brian, I think, from what I can see, is the man for the job. I think all the guys on tour believe that, and the players meeting we had this week was very good. Obviously, the announcement, they've been transparent with us the whole process. This is what we're aiming to do. It got voted on this week. Yep, we are all go. I think there's still a lot of details for them to work out, but they said, again, they're going to be very transparent with us going forward about it, and I think guys are excited that it's going to be a little different.
Yeah.
But there's going to be more opportunity for guys. There's going to be more guys on this championship series than what there are playing the signature events like this week. There's going to be more opportunities for the guys on, the Challenger Series? Yep, Challenger Series. That's fairly new for us. I'm going to mess those names up a couple of times. But, there's more opportunity down there. We're elevating the whole tour and everyone involved. I think they were saying that there's, 600 people or so plus that play on a PGA Tour sanctioned event during the year. So the more opportunity for those players, the better. And I think most people are going to benefit from what's happening now.
Perfect. You'll understand Brian Rolap's ability to communicate and describe, as you'll be hearing from him in just a little bit here on the Fairways of Life show. So to wrap up with you, because you've been so generous, Brian, with all your time, I would ask you, as a guy that went through multiple sports, tried to find his path, hated law by your own admission, and decided that he wanted to play golf. Was a 2 handicap, got down to scratch quickly, but came into the game late. What message do you have for people that are chasing their own dream?
I feel like you've got to kind of try everything. I tried everything growing up, and it took me a while to figure out what I liked. I would have liked to have found, in hindsight, I probably knew that I liked golf the most early, but it took me a while to realize that. But there's no timeline in this game. You don't have to be good early. And I'd say the biggest thing is make sure it's still fun. Like I'm 39. I'm out on the PGA Tour. And for the most part, still loving what I do, and that makes it a lot easier. If you find something that you love, and you can make it your career, you're pretty lucky. And it took me a little while to get to that point, but I'm still doing it now and loving it.
It's funny how love and fun and passion seem to tether together with success, and he has had it and continues.
Thanks,
May it
Matt.
continue
Cheers.
for you.
Appreciate
Good
it.
to see you, my friend.
You too.
Thank you so much. We're going to be back with more of the Fairways of Life show. Brian Rolap coming up. It's been very much the talk of the golf world over the last week plus. That's because Brian Rolap, the CEO of the PGA Tour, revealed to the world what the plans are for the PGA Tour moving forward, both with the championship tier and with the challenger tier, and the way that players can move between them. Basically, if you don't play well enough on the championship tier, you get relegated. Just like think of the Premier League football or soccer, if you please, that you get moved down, or players from the lower tier, which is the challenger tier, can be pushed up into the top tier. Really interesting, the details of which we haven't, at least on this show, been able to share with you fully because of our time constraints. Last week, we don't have those constraints this week. We deliberately left this segment open so that you could hear from Brian Rolap, CEO of the PGA Tour.
One tour, two compelling series of events, played at the most worthy courses for the highest stakes, culminating in a true postseason that crowns the best golfer in the world. The PGA Tour Championship Series will consist of 23 to 24 events, opening big in February and running through August. Every regular season event will feature 120 player fields on average, and a cut with a minimum purses of $20 million per event. Comprised of future stars and players battling to return to the top, the PGA Tour Challenger Series will run concurrently with the PGA Tour Championship Series. The PGA Tour Challenger Series will feature at least 20 events with 144 player fields, all with a cut. The PGA Tour Challenger Series is the primary path to the PGA Tour Championship Series. Players earn promotion through either a 2-win in-season promotion or by finishing the season in the top 20 on the points list. The PGA Tour Challenger Series will be played at familiar PGA Tour venues and will be highly competitive and lucrative, with purses of at least $4 million per event. The top 90 finishers at a minimum on the PGA Tour Championship Series points list will retain their cards, while those who finish outside that number face relegation to the PGA Tour Challenger Series. We will also celebrate a regular season winner. And for the postseason, we will introduce match play and a reimagined tour championship that will rotate among prestigious venues featuring the best of championship series players. This will include courses the PGA Tour has never visited before. Following the course schedule from February to August, our fall calendar will now feature elements that touch every level of our competitive platform. The fall schedule will include a limited series of elevated international events with top players from the PGA Tour Championship Series, which we intend to deliver in partnership with the DP World Tour as part of our continuing strategic alliance. These events will represent some of the best existing professional golf events outside the United States, including prominent national opens. The fall will also feature a last chance domestic series, where players have a final opportunity to earn membership on the PGA Tour Championship Series. And we will continue to conduct Q School that provides access across the system. The new PGA Tour will be a connected platform and deliver significant benefits across the board. From emerging talent seeking opportunity to global superstars building legacy, every event serves a distinct purpose while contributing to one unified objective: to be the strongest, most compelling golf platform in the world. For fans, it creates a more exciting, easier to follow experience with clearer stakes and more compelling head-to-head competition among the best players in the world. We know if we get this right for fans, everything else will follow. For our partners, it creates more value through a stronger, more consistent, more engaging product that will drive sustained interest and growth. And for our players, it creates greater competitive clarity while reinforcing the qualities that make golf so unique. If you play well, you'll be rewarded, both competitively and financially. While today is a big step forward, what comes next is just as important. With the foundation of the model in place, we will begin to work to finalize details and specifics, including eligibility criteria and other areas important to our membership. Simultaneously, we will move to execution, working with our partners around commercial and other operational matters to prepare for the full implementation in 2028. To give everyone a sense of where we are as we look ahead to 2028 schedule, we already have 10 of 15 PGA Tour Championship Series regular season events lined up for 2028. The remaining 5 spots will either be filled by existing events or new markets. We look forward to announcing these events soon and plan to unveil the full PGA Tour Championship Series schedule in the first quarter of next year. And during this process, we will provide updates as elements are finalized, including press conferences at the Tour Championship and around upcoming board meetings in September and November. In closing, this structure creates more compelling competition for fans and greater opportunity for players, bringing stronger value to our partners and the ability to further our philanthropic mission. We have made meaningful progress, but our work is far from finished. We know the best days of the PGA Tour are ahead of us. The reason for change has been pretty clear. I think if you talk to our fans, if you talk to our partners, they are all looking for improvement. And there's one thing I learned in my old job: innovation is extremely important if you want to move a sport forward. And I think the PGA Tour is different. We also exist in a really competitive sports world. Whether you're competing for fans' attention, if you're competing for media dollars, which is the economic lifeblood of every sport in this country, you need to be constantly improving the product. And I think we looked around and we saw what we need to do to increase fans' attention and increase and create more value for our partners, and felt this was necessary.
What has been the biggest concern among the players, and also having Tiger on board? Can you talk about his role and how valuable it was to have him behind these changes?
Yeah, I think having Tiger involved was a tremendous asset and a privilege. His insight into the game as a player, but also being around it his whole life, the respect he has earned from fans, from his fellow members, from partners, is invaluable. And so his leadership has been tremendous, and we're fortunate to have him. And I think as far as your concerns on what the players had, I mean, I'm not sure I'd classify it as concerns. I think everybody was really focused on trying to fulfill the objectives of making a PGA Tour better for everybody, whether you're a top player or not so top player, for our partners, for our media partners. And what it necessitated is to get outside your personal situation and think holistically, and really trying to build something that long after these player directors are gone, that stands the test of time as a competitive model and a system that gets better and better and better. And so we had players who were at every stage of their career, every stage of the OWGR rankings, and they all sort of represented different views of the tour, but they all came together thinking about the collective, which was just great to see. So I think their concern was just trying to get it right. They took this responsibility seriously. And so when you do that, you're always going to have concerns and worries, but I think we all worked through them, and we're pretty happy where we're coming out.
It looks like 23 to 24 big events in a roughly 7-month span. How would you address any load management concerns, and how will off weeks work on the PGA Tour?
Yeah, I think that was, it's important to note that it had a lot of conversation, because we've been very clear we're trying to create a competition in times of the year when we think we can get the most attention. And we think this time of the year, we think that's an opportunity to do that. We also understand that PGA Tour members cannot play every week, nor are we requiring them to do that. So we aren't changing the model. They're not under contract. We're not going to force them to play anything. But we do think we've designed a model that will allow them to take some tournaments off and still compete for the regular season title and other things. And I think if you look at the math, we think we will deliver very, very strong fields week in and week out. And that's the entire point.
When you use the phrasing, courses we've never been to, are you talking about something like a Chicago Golf Club or something that hasn't been built yet? Chicago just as an example. But
I think the goal is to go to prestigious courses that we're not there a lot, that fans will recognize as prestigious. We're also not above building things on our own. I think one of the most successful tournaments in the world that you can't argue it is the Players Championship. That was a course that was built for that event. That's certainly on the table, but I think there are plenty of great golf courses in this country that we'd like to get to.
Brian, with the ability for the championship series players to play down, there's bound to be some scenarios where they can't support a hometown event or a tournament that feels really special to them. What would be your message to players who could potentially be missing out on that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked a lot about that. Again, I think it's important to zoom out and look what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to build the best competitive model we can for our members and for fans, and ultimately for our partners. By definition, we're not going to fulfill every preference of every stakeholder. I think that's impossible. But I think what we can do is build something bigger than ourselves. And I think that's one of the trade-offs I think we'd have to consider. But we believe that having this championship series and delivering to fans the best golfers week in and week out is a goal worth pursuing, and that's the larger ideal. So we worked through it.
Just curious if you solicited feedback from the major championships, OWGR, any other stakeholders in the ecosystem?
Yeah, we've been talking to them the whole time and have given them an insight on what we're working on and what we're doing. They're obviously a really important part of the ecosystem. They do a great job of pulling in non-golf fans in their events, and I think that's really good for the sport. So we've certainly been in contact with them.
Brian Rolap addressing the world with the plans for the PGA Tour heading down the road with this now two-track system, these two tiers, and how it plays out. Dom has joined me. So what's your reaction to it, Dom? What do you think?
I love it as a soccer fan. Like you mentioned earlier, the relegation sort of side of it, I think that's a really cool thing. It's a nice development. I think it's going to be generally received very well. I mean, we just heard Ryan Fox say a lot of positive things about it, talking with the players and the player meeting and stuff at the Travelers Championship. So I think that part of it, the structure of it, is really cool. It's really unique. I love hearing that match play could be coming back in some
in the
form,
fall, yeah,
which is really another great thing. And hopefully, I think it will come across a little simpler once they get in. Once they start going and rolling, the point system will be a little bit simpler for people to understand, general golf fans. The questions that I have, though, are from sort of because I'm a producer, I'm a media guy. The questions I have are more along the lines of, what is this going to mean from a media rights standpoint when we look out 5 or 10 years from now? How will this be structured? What's the best way that the tour is going to try and position this in terms of rights agreements and where can we watch our golf? How much golf is going to be available to be watched and where? I think the answers to those questions, which are still, unknown, are really fascinating. There's a lot of possibilities there.
Well, it's speculation, but I will give you one guy's opinion on that. I think that the result of what this structure is will result in more of more, meaning that when Brian Rolap first came to the PGA Tour and he talked about scarcity, he later defined that as the scarcity was defined by important events, not by the gross volume of golf. The reality is that we have two concurrent tours now. And these concurrent tours, one at the championship level is going to 120 player fields, and at the challenger level is going to 144 player fields. So first of all, the concern that was early on about playing opportunities, there's a ton of playing opportunities, even more so than there was before. So I think from a fan's perspective, in terms of how we consume our golf, we're going to be getting even more opportunity to consume golf at a PGA Tour level because of these two different tracks. For example, as you just heard, the championship level, which includes playoffs and majors, et cetera, you're talking about 23, 24 events a year at that level, which is supposed to be, in theory, the best of the best players all competing at the same time. Then you have the challenger level where those are concurrently running events. So add all that up, and we're getting as much golf as we used to or more, but it's very specifically structured, and it's based, as you heard the CEO discuss, Brian said it's based on meritocracy. So it's basically you eat what you kill, and if you don't stay competitive, you go down. There's no sponsors exemptions, for example, so you don't have these players that are popular that they would love to have hanging around, but they're not quite good enough to stay at the top tier, and they won't stay at the top tier as a result based upon the way that he laid that structure out. To the point that Dom asked about how all of this works with, for example, media rights.
Well, how does it become available to fans? How can the people watching this watch golf
I think it's going to change dramatically over the next few years. I believe that the reason why they announced this to start when they announced it to start is because of what's going on with the rights, which, as you know, expires in 2030.
Yeah.
They're going to start those negotiations, and now they have those negotiations to start based upon this revised structure. And I think what you're going to see is you're going to see the pie cut up in different ways. So by taking, you may say, this is me speculating, but on a weekend, you may see more than just a couple of primary networks. You may see multiple that have a piece of the pie in terms of where these broadcasts are found.
Essentially, that's how the NFL is now.
And that's, Brian came from the NFL, and I think what they're going to try to do is maximize the value of these chunks that they give out to these different media entities. And I'm calling them media entities because I think it's going to include major streaming platforms as well as the traditional broadcast platforms and, if you will, the linear cable platforms and more. So all of that, when you put it all together, not to mention the fact that it's obviously going to cost more for a sponsor to be behind a championship event, it's going to come down to money and a significant sum more for the PGA Tour, which we've known throughout this whole process is very much part of their agenda. So that's just my perspective of how I think it's going to lay out. You just heard from Brian Rolap, the CEO of the PGA Tour, describing their plans. So we wanted you guys to have all of this information so that you could come up with your own vision and your own opinion as to where the PGA Tour is going. All right, when we come back, I can tell you where we are going. We're going to be joined by one of our favorites out here in the PGA Tour, a longtime friend in Mark Hubbard. That on the Fairways of Life show after we return. Play your best golf. Log on to NewtonGolfCo.com. Check out the new Fast Motion shafts and see why this golf shaft is making such a significant difference in the world of golf. And I'm not only talking about the best players in the world, because they have been eager to adopt this shaft as well, particularly the PGA Tour champions. I'm talking about every player. Check it out when you're out playing with your buddies, maybe in a league or at a weekend round, and see how many are playing these Newton golf shafts now. They work. You can feel the load at the top of the golf swing and all that innate energy. NewtonGolfCo.com. Back with more after this, folks.
My name is David McLeod, golf course architect for the latest course at Streamsong. Welcome to Bone Valley.
Head down, water down the left, bunker down the right, take the club straight back.
Wandering minds. When golfers lose their focus, they're totally... But
Bridgestone can help.
Introducing Mindset. The ball's scientifically designed to keep you focused.
First, identify your target.
Next, visualize your shot path.
And then focus on the green dot and smooth one.
Play the Tour B and E12 with Mindset technology.
See what happens when we work together? Stuff like that.
Imagine your ultimate golf experience. There's a good chance it's Michigan's Magnificent 11. 11 spectacular courses from Boyne Golf, varied in both topography and play. Boyne Golf was named the #1 best golf destination in USA Today Reader's Choice 2025. And the Highlands at Harbor Springs is the #2 golf resort in that same USA Today poll. The ultimate golf experience. That's Michigan's Magnificent 11.
This is golf.
A shot, honey.
And this is Golf's Superstore.
Oh, yeah, we'll take this.
When you play PXG, everything clicks. That's the sound of confidence, of performance, of knowing your new PXG Gen 8 irons and new Lightning woods are designed and custom fit for pros and golfers just like you. A better game is just a click away. Visit pxg.com to learn more. PXG, you've never played like this before.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. You know, Hubb's Peanuts has been cooking up the top 1% of peanuts for over 70 years. And these aren't your average nut. These are super extra large Virginia peanuts cooked in the USA. Family-owned Hubb's Peanuts have more protein than any other nuts. So whether it's a boost on the course or a special gift, the variety of flavors guarantees Hubb's Peanuts is just what you need. Family-owned, nutritious, delicious, and sustainable. Hubb's Peanuts, it's just right. HubbsPeanuts.com.
Every golfer dreams of reaching the next level. FlightScope Mevo Gen 2 gives you 18 data parameters with the accuracy you demand to improve your game, all measured with FlightScope's patented fusion tracking. Its 6-hour battery life gives you uninterrupted play and practice outdoors and indoors. Tee it up on the included simulation bundle. See your shots come to life with the FlightScope AR Tracer. Have fun, improve your game, shoot lower scores with no required subscriptions. Buy your FlightScope Mevo Gen 2 now at FlightScope.com.
4! This is golf, and this is Golf Superstore, the only place you can walk in for a free driver fitting, have it built, and tee it up the same day. Try Fit and Go today.
As we welcome you back to the program, I told you Mark Hubbard was going to join us. I love having Mark on the show for, I don't even know how many years we've been chatting.
Yeah, it's been the majority of my career. So
how long have you been going out?
This is my 10th year on tour, 13th as a pro, so it's probably been 9 or 10 years.
13, 14, or whatever years. Because I remember early on when you were out. I don't even remember where I met you for the first time, but you were on a driving range someplace, and Mark had been kind enough to join us. Joel was doing the same thing back in the day when, you guys, and I mean this respectfully, but you guys were struggling to make sure you could pay your rent.
Yeah.
And it's a part kind of your story, not just yours, but I mean collectively of players' stories that a lot of times people don't even see.
No, I think that's honestly the majority of the guys out here. Obviously on TV, you only see the top guys who are flying private and their lives are awesome, but the majority of us had to work, just as hard to get scraps on the way up, and it's just it's the nature of it, any business, any sport. But yeah, staying, crummy hotels, playing mini tour golf, 3 or 4 guys to a room, eating Little Caesars every night.
Yeah.
But it's also
no disrespect to Little Caesars. No. That's pretty good pizza.
No, it's great pizza, and 555 deal is incredible. So no, but it's part of it, and it's honestly when I look back, it's the most fun years of my life too, and I think a lot of guys would say that, and in baseball playing, some of the stuff, just the friendships you make, and everybody grinding towards the same goal, and your little support system, your community. It was a lot of fun.
Did you feel like, even now, you were running towards something, or was there some motivation that you were running away from something too?
No, not really. Honestly, I just kind of always played golf. It was always kind of my third favorite sport behind skiing and basketball, and obviously it was the one that worked out, and I probably worked it the hardest. But even through my mini tour days, there was never like this, I'm going to be, the #1 player in the world. I'm going to make it to the PGA Tour. I just always kind of played, and it was just what I did. And I got really lucky to get out here really fast. And then, I struggled my first couple years. I had an okay year in 2016, but struggled my first couple years. And then when I had to go back to the Korn Ferry Tour for that year, that was kind of when I started, treating this like an actual profession and treating myself like a professional. And actually having goals and motivations. But before that, I was still just kind of an idiot college kid, just whack around a white ball. So I was fortunate the way my path unfolded. I think there's not a lot of that now, just because the competition has exponentially grown. If I look back on, I've always been really good at golf, but if I look back on how good I was, how hard I worked, in 11, 12, 13, that wouldn't work now. Like I wouldn't have made it out here. Yeah, so
That's interesting.
I think people, our tour included, but definitely the general golf don't understand and underestimate how good the guys on, the Canadian Tour are, or Mackenzie Tour, how good the guys on the Korn Ferry Tour, like, versus when I was out. I mean, if I'm honest, like the 300th best player in the world was not that good at golf, in 2012, 13, 14, even 15, my rookie year out here, and now he's incredible. He could win any week.
Yeah, I mean, another example of that, I think, is all you have to do is look at the collegiate players.
100%.
Look at the kids coming out of college that are, in some cases, 19 years old, but even those, someone that qualified for the U.S. Open a couple of weeks ago, 17 years old, and they come out ready to compete, and this is just more people that you guys kind of have to fight off.
100%. I mean, in college, had a decent career, made it to regionals a couple times in Indy, won some events, and I mean, we were the team throwing the football on the range before warm-ups and going out every night. So it's not like that anymore, and I think that's true in every sport. Like, people are just training as professionals from a really young age, and it's great for the sport. It's great for fans to for everybody to be at peak performance.
It is fascinating because when you talked about going down to the Korn Ferry Tour, so you're at the PGA Tour where people perceive the streets gilded and gold and all that. You go down to the Korn Ferry Tour, and the way you described it, not my words, let's use yours. It almost seems like it truly benefited you as a professional.
Big time, yeah. No, I needed to go back there. Like I said, I got out here pretty fast. Didn't know what I was doing. My game wasn't ready to be out here. I was just naturally good at golf, but I didn't know what it meant to be a professional and to be on the PGA Tour. And the courses are just so much more demanding out here. The setups are so much more demanding out here. And so, yeah, going back and just getting some confidence back and just reevaluating kind of what I wanted out of this life was super huge for me. I definitely wouldn't still be out here if I hadn't gone, had to go back for a little bit.
When then did you feel like I'm where I belong?
2019, I won kind of out of the blue, honestly, but then from then on, I had a lot of confidence and definitely figured some stuff out in my game and in my head more than anything. And so kind of from then on, it's been, a lot more focused, a lot more feeling like I'm where I'm supposed to be.
When we were talking about, surrounding yourself with the right people, being an athlete, being fit, you also look good. It looks like you've been working out more.
Thanks.
Your fitness is strong. Is that just being a dad, or is that you've been working something special?
No, I've been, yeah. I try and take care of my body. I think, recently I just turned 37. I know that's young for humans, but it's old for sports. So I definitely feel like there's been a shift in me more in kind of the, PT, taking care of myself that way in the recovery more than, just beating myself up in the gym. I'm still in the gym quite a bit, but it's a lot different. So I think, any of the strength I have is definitely dad's strength. It's not from me going in there and lifting super hard. But yeah, I definitely I put a big priority on my recovery and I think that's made a big difference. I mean, even regardless of what my results have been, just how I've felt at the end of the year, the last couple of years, I've just felt so much better. I mean, golf is just, at the end of the day, not that good for your body, as it turns out. Like, it's incredible how good my body feels after just taking 2 or 3 days off of not swinging a club.
Incredible.
So yeah, at this point in my career, just really focusing on that.
Before we started actually recording, Mark was recounting, I guess he's the bracelet here, a lot of girl dad stuff.
A lot of girl dad
What'd you have?
stuff.
You have something sparkly over here?
Yeah, I have an
underneath
orange glitter tiger henna tattoo or something from the Father's Day pool set.
Has that changed your mentality too? Do you realize that golf isn't everything? You can kind of let go of the pressure?
Yeah, yes and no. I think for me, like I said, in my early career, I really lived and played like I had nothing to lose, both from a golf-wise, from a life-wise. It was just me hanging out, and I lived well and hard and whatever. And now, for the first time in my life, I really cherish being out here, and obviously I cherish my family, 10x of that. So yeah, it definitely puts things in perspective, but I also, use it as motivation because I like I said, I do have 2 things that are really, really important to me now for the first time in my life with my family and with golf. So it's a little bit of both. Yeah, you know, there's definitely some guys out here who you see, you know, start a family and, you know, they start winning like crazy because it's like, oh, golf isn't the most important thing, and that's what they needed. They needed to loosen the reins. I've never been someone who, you know, held on to the reins super tight. So I don't know that, you know, that's going to propel me, but man, it makes the bad days a lot easier to see those little girls run up to me and give me a hug. That's for sure. So I'm exponentially happier than I was, you know, in 2017.
When you talk about the body and the rigors of professional golf, and it's the things that people see and don't see, it's the way they're hitting balls and practicing and hitting the club into a ball into the earth over and over again, but it's carrying their bag through airports and everything else that goes along with it, in suitcases and more. What about the other side? What about the mental health side? How are you in ensuring that your mind, your emotions are where they need to be?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing just as much stuff with that. I have a coach. I've had a couple over the last, you know, 5 or 6 years. Do lots of breath work, meditation stuff. Yeah, no, it's just as important, if not more important, because it is. It's man, it's a grind out here. It's a long season. And if you're not right mentally, it doesn't matter what your body's doing.
Right, because it's got to be easy to get down on yourself at some point instead of remembering what you just started this interview with.
Yeah.
The players in the PGA Tour are remarkably the best players in the world and so much better than people even realize. And sometimes you have to give yourself that grace too, right?
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing for me is I'm my own biggest critic, and I you know, I beat myself up pretty good sometimes when I'm out there. So just learning how to be better at that and give myself the same empathy that I give my friends and my family. That's been my biggest challenge. Getting better at it. Not there, but I'm getting better at it.
Your openness, you remind people of who they are and what they're capable of in the way that you approach things, and you always have. And so it makes it very cool. You see the sponsors that he has on here. I love to ask you about your sponsors.
Yeah.
It's part of the way that we say thank you for taking the time with all of us. You want to share with us?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been super lucky in my career to have great sponsors. Like, they're all companies I care about. I care about the people involved. And they're just genuinely like guys that I want to.
This is too classic.
Yeah. I mean, I still got the Hubs, you know.
Yeah, Hubs Peanuts.
They're my old school, ride or die.
But what's with the skeleton?
This is True Links too. So this is the clothing, hat. They started as shoes, but they kind of make everything now. They're awesome. True Links wear.
Very nice.
Definitely check it out. But yeah, they're all just guys, you know, guys you'd want to go have a beer with.
Who are these guys?
Knock Around Sunglasses. They're the official sunglasses of the PGA Tour.
Beautiful.
They're awesome guys. MGM's obviously really cool. Blackstone, can't complain about that.
Right,
You
that's
know,
this
the
one up here.
grills, they're
Hubs
awesome
we already
guys.
talked about
Hubs
with the peanuts.
Incentivize, he's one of my biggest. He's a tax advising firm. He's in San Diego, just like the coolest guy. Comes to events all the time. Like
cool.
He flew out to Scotland for one day a couple years back. Like, he's just the coolest guy.
Who's this, Amada?
Amada is Chase Sheldakis. He's my financial advisor. We played junior golf together in Colorado, actually.
How cool
We've
is that?
stayed in touch forever. So yeah, just all guys that really, you know, feel like family, and I just want to be around. Waste Connections on my bag. So I've been very lucky in that regard.
Very cool, too, that as you were talking about, that you've aligned yourself with these companies that mean something to you, obviously.
Yeah, very much so. And I think my agents have done a really good job with that. Just, you know, not just slapping on a Walgreens logo or whatever, whoever is willing to pay, but really, you know, finding companies that align with, you know, my quote-unquote brand, but just kind of, you know, guys that are a good hang and have the same values and stuff as me. And I've been very lucky.
Perfect. Last week, of course, the CEO, Brian Rolap of the PGA Tour, told the world about the plans that they're moving forward with this 2-tier, the championship tier and the challenger tier on the PGA Tour. You've seen both sides of those worlds. What's your initial reaction? I know it's early still, but what's your initial reaction?
Yeah, I've been back and forth. You know, I didn't really dive into it. I kind of glanced at the Spark Notes PDF. My initial reaction was similar to yours, is that I'm really happy to see the field sizes. I'm really happy that more guys are getting playing opportunities, because at the end of the day, like I talked about with how good the competition is, it's just kind of insane to me that for a while we shrunk the field so much, you know, when the competition is 4x what it was, you know, even 6-7 years ago. So the fact that that's going back to those 120 to 130, that means a lot to me. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. It's kind of been one of those things where I've been on, like you said, I've been on both sides. I really have no say in anything that happens, and so I've kind of had to really dig deep. And there's two ways to look at it. Like I've seen some of my peers get really bitter and grumpy about the situations over the past 5-6 years, and I feel like I've done a really good job of just putting my head down, playing golf, kind of staying out of it, which is why like I said, I've only glanced at it. Because at the end of the day, I don't have any control. And that being said, if I play well, my life gets exponentially better. It gets, the money's bigger, the lifestyle's better, and having those tours, does give you kind of a goal of where you want to be. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, there's been so much change. I hope we do this. I hope it works, and I hope we stick with it for
Settle
a long
down,
time.
let it root, yeah, and let it grow. Yep.
Just for the fans, just for golf in general. Like they need. I have so many. All of my friends are casual golf fans. I don't have any like diehard, and none of them know what's going on ever. And half the time, like I don't really have the answer for them. Like if I do this, do I get into this? Like what's my So just having that clear picture, I think, is going to be really, really important for our game and for the fans, and I hope it works out, and I hope we stick with it.
Awesome. Last time you and I had a chance to talk, but maybe it was 2 times ago, you had told me that you were working on getting a little more power into your swing by, as you phrased it then, not swinging so much with my arms. It looks like, from an observer standpoint, that is working. What's your assessment?
Yeah. My coach and I have done a lot of work towards that. Honestly, I kind of feel like my swing is just where it needs to be. It's a lot of maintenance work now, which is a really good place to be in, where I don't feel like I'm working on a ton of stuff.
Here, hold on a second. Stand up for a second. I'm going to move this.
Okay.
You stand back there and show me the to the camera there. Show me what your swing was. Mime it. What your swing was when you said it was the arm swing versus what you're doing.
Yeah, I was very focused on rooting into the ground.
Yep.
And I just didn't have enough turn. Like I didn't have enough thoracic. I didn't have enough hip rotation at all. So I was very locked out.
Your right shoulder?
So it was just all arms. Like this was staying here the whole time. I was never letting this go. I was never really loading into that right hip at all.
Yep.
And then through the ball, I didn't have any separation either. So it was just very kind of almost stack and tilty a little bit.
Yep.
And now, like, that's the big thing that we work on is, I make a really big turn now. If anything, sometimes I get a little too deep. But the big thing we work on is just the separation on the downswing. Especially for me, I've always hit cuts, and now I can hit a draw because of that.
Oh, wow.
And
That's cool.
And when I'm doing that, I have to have the most separation. So it's just a lot of work of, like, on the downswing, keeping this chest back as long as I can.
You know what I just noticed?
Throwing that back.
You immediately started. You weren't even done on the backswing, and you were already loading up.
Yeah. And so that's been a huge difference. But like I said, I feel like we kind of got the hang of that, I don't know, mid last season. And so this year it's kind of been just maintenance work, which has been really nice.
Awesome.
Like it's first time in, honestly, I don't know, 5 or 6 years where I don't feel like I'm like working on something, like trying to change something, where I'm just trying to maintain something. So it's been good.
My man, you know how proud we are of you.
Thank you.
Believe in you.
No, I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Likewise. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us on the Fairways Life Show this week. Make sure you catch him out on the PGA Tour. Mark Hubbard is one of the great ones. So are you guys for your time and company. Thank you for that as well. Until next time, goodbye for now.